That's right, I did it, and in the most stubborn way possible. Now, this isn't going to be like 100% free to play or anything, but I did do it without Lily, so I am happy at least with that. I did do it with Kloss though, but I did save my selector to get Kloss, so... Alright, so this is the clear, and you're already saying, I know, but Adachi, you have Messiah, but you gotta understand that Messiah is kind of shit for this fight, especially if you have already better units for it. Like if I had invested in my Rosa, Rosa's already better for this when you use Revelation, which I'm using on him, which I don't even know if is ideal, because he only does 2 hits on his S3. It's probably better just to use Count, but I already invested in Revelation, so that's what I had. I also have a... where is she? A Chiata, right here. 1,000 times better. Everybody's using Chiata right now. Realistically, the only benefit that he gives is on very RNG niche scenarios where the enemies decide to hit him when he has an invincibility buff up. That is about the only time where it's actually useful to have him. But other than that, I'd rather just do more consistent damage. Because let me say, this run is inconsistent as hell. It was on auto, and on auto it's probably about a 10% win rate. So realistically, I'm not going to be farming this, but it's done at least. So the run is about 6 minutes long. Let's go ahead and look at stats. We can see here, actually this looks like a little less than I'm used to. Okay, this was over 100%. Luckily it's not anymore because I used to have crit rate on my shell, but I rolled it and fortunately did not, it doesn't even have crit damage. It has speed, which is like okay, but it's really not what he needs. I rolled a red speed on him when I was trying to move the crit rate to crit damage. I think crit damage would help a fuck ton here because really one of the biggest issues with the consistency of the run is on the second wave, enemies will just continue to scale and start one-shotting because Messiah isn't killing fast enough. But here we've gotten a decent bit invested into his skills, level 3 on the S2, maxed out S3. For gear, we're running a 12-8 on Kenai and Onslaught. Really, this is just going to be dependent on whatever you roll. The shell, when I was farming for Revelation, I just happened to eventually get Onslaught Kenai, and so I was like, that's what we're building. So I got the shell, and then I went from there and then built out a new, or went and farmed and built out a new set. But we are running crit rate, crit damage, and a second crit rate, just so I can pretty much guarantee it. I think you can actually swap one of these crit rates for attack, especially depending on how you roll on other things. But when because I'm using Revelation specifically on Messiah and it only procs off of crit, I was like, he needs to be critting pretty much all the time, so he's at 96% with those two. And they really didn't roll that good. I mean, this one rolled once into crit damage. Everything else is pretty shit. Rolled once into crit rate. Everything else is pretty shit. And luckily this one at least rolled into these, and I don't think there's any standouts in the rest of them. I think I rolled into speed more often than I feel like I should have really. Yeah, like purple speed here. I would have really liked the crit rate. And this is definitely the best roll. The best roll. Unfortunately only on a 2-slider, but yeah, that's definitely not too bad. But yes, looking at Revelation, we have flat attack, not even attack percent, and I looked at the numbers and it looks like this is about half as good. So I think the percentage at cap, it boosts like about 350, upwards of 400 more attack, or total attack. So yeah, about double this. So this isn't even like the best you can get. Speed, this should be crit damage. Enough said there. And then I was able to at least roll a purple in light damage for Messiah, so I can't complain too much about that. For Kloss, you can see right here, she's got pretty much garbage, but I've had this set for quite a while now because it rolled pretty decently into speed, not like amazing, but it rolled at least a few blues and a couple greens. You can see here, this is actually my, see, hopefully I don't cover it up. Yeah, this is my old Lilith set right here. Literally nothing else, it's just Swift Rush and gives a bunch of speed. And it is all in like primarily HP and 1 effect act because it is for Lilith, so you know, to land her mark and so she can scale with her HP. Kloss does have a maxed S3. I don't know if it's necessary. A lot of people are clearing without having any investment into her prowess at all, but I just wanted to tweak that a little bit out. And then I just kind of rotate these few shells depending on who I'm using. So I have 2 gigabytes. And then I have 1 artisan. Those have been pretty much my staples. But nothing too crazy here. She's got only a gold speed, but then she also has a gaze, luckily, somehow. So she'll get some stacking effect accuracy, which is useful. As a matter of fact, holy shit, I didn't even think about it. I need to roll that on Kazuya. She does still whiff a lot on her sleeps. But yeah, she's mostly geared just for HP and speed, and that's pretty much it. But looking into Kazuya, again, we want primarily speed, good effect accuracy. I want to pump this up even more, because even at max S3, this is a cap of, there it is, a cap of 90% chance to inflict slumber. And they have so much fucking effect resistance for some reason that it still ends up whiffing as the fight progresses, or even at the start, and whiffing on even one just like sets the run so far back. So because of that, we are running effect ac, and HP. You know, I might actually want to switch this to effect accuracy, but this has a blue speed roll on it, so I don't know. And actually, well, before that, we have 7, 1 shy of getting the 8 on Swift, and 13 time weave. So this is there's a few reasons for this. 1, these are the sets I wanted, 100%. But 2, after 2 days of farming, Jackal Guard, this was the best roll I could get. I just needed a 3 time weave and a 2 Swift. But that's not what we got here, so that's what I have. Otherwise, I did have a slightly better set. Right here, you can see I have worse Kraken on her right now, but if I swap over to Kraken V2, and yeah, I've just been naming my effect hit rate sets Kraken in honor of my fallen comrade. But I actually get about, it's 14, so 14 more speed out of this and a little more effect accuracy. It's really good. Also a lot less crit damage, because one of these rolled a lot of fucking crit damage. Where is it? Here it is, I found it, first click. Alright, effect accuracy, and it rolled gold into crit damage, even though it had speed and HP as well, and I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? So yeah, that was the Kazuya piece there. But yeah, so I had to sacrifice a lot of speed, you know, going down from a 7, or from an 8 to a 7 piece on Swift, just so I could finish out and keep the time weave effect, because I think this is so much more important than getting that extra speed, but I feel like that also kills consistency quite a bit with the big speed drop off there. Now we got Freya, whose set has she been using? She's been using Marvel's old set, and I don't even really use Marvel anymore, so this is what we got. It's, again, just junk slapped together. A lot of this stuff is old, and some of it I've tried to update over time. I don't even know the rhyme or reason between this stuff. I think I had speed, and then I just rolled it, and then that's what I had, so that's what I have. This probably could honestly get updated, but it has some pretty decent speed on it, bringing it up to 250. Also running Gigabytes with a not great set, but I mean a little more tankiness, a little more speed. The rolls are complete shit though. I mean, purple speed, this does, I mean, she is green. I promise you her damage doesn't mean much though. And then attack up by 150, so yeah, she's pretty shitty. Oh, also a maxed S3. Again, I don't even think you need this at max. I think it's more important just to get this to probably like just level 3, just so you can increase the chance of inflicting it. Again, also if you have like better DPSs to use than Messiah, I think that a lot of these are going to be even less important with the more damage you're going to end up doing, especially more consistent damage that you're going to end up doing, because most of Messiah's damage is just like his S3 and then his S2, and then he just chills. And then Ling Luo, and her set is like the shittiest of all. I made this speed, or this healer set a long time ago, and I never updated it. This is probably one that I should update soon. But looking at her details, I've got 1 level up into her S3, so, you know, fuck all that shit, you don't need to worry about that. She's fine on nothing. But pretty mediocre speed, and she's just built for HP just to help tank, and that's about it. I think Effect Act might actually be useful, just so she can, if it does affect any percent chance buffs that you can apply, then I feel like Effect Accuracy should affect that, so that would probably be a little more useful to throw on her as well, but I think just her being able to tank is very useful. And then as much speed as humanly possible. This already, if you don't already know, 205 is not a lot of speed at this point in the game, so it's pretty shit. Yeah, that's HP, HP, and HP. I think because originally this healer set was built for like Sonya or something. And now Ling Luo just has it. And then on Shell, she's got Artisan, 2 Swift, 3 Time Whip, which it doesn't really matter at all. I think this set, or this shell, is actually for somebody else. I think her original shell is, let me see if I can find one. I think it's one of these black flags, actually. But Artisan is, you know, he's amazing. Very useful just to help you potentially not die, which you really need to not die. And then her passives here are actually not too awful. HP up, great. Gold speed, great. And then the last one, I feel like it's just too much RNG trying to roll a lot of these, especially the third one. There's so many fucking stats you can roll that, I don't know, it's not worth it, in my opinion. And that's the squad. Oh, and in case you didn't already notice, I think she's the only one on 5-star right now. I think everybody else is 6-starred. Yeah, just because universally I use these guys all a lot. Ling Luo, I should probably 6-star her as well and get that extra 5 speed. It would definitely help a lot. Now, I don't want to be talking about Doki just this entire time, but if you've got a similar setup to me, but you're missing something, like I see a lot of people saying like, well, I don't have Kloss. So I think that she is eligible to be swapped out for other options if you have them, like Valerian, who I do have invested. I think she can work. I just think it's a little harder. I make it to second wave, then usually I wipe after killing like 1 or 2 of the mobs. So I definitely think it's possible. And it might even be possible with my current team, just based on RNG, but it might just be a little tougher without Kloss if you decide to use Valerian instead. And then there's one other option. Oh yeah, this one isn't going to be a really free-to-play option unless you just happen to pull her, Doki, who I did end up resetting, which I'm like, I only regret it now because I'm like, Doki could be really amazing, but also I think the resources where I moved her to were well put, but I think Doki with at least up to, you know, 5 or 6 stars, some good gear, and ideally if you can get like her skills up, I think she would honestly be really fucking good over Kloss. You get the stacking buffs, especially if you're running somebody like Chiata. Pretty good. It's a lot of speed and a lot of damage to be gotten out of there. And then everybody has Ling Luo, but honestly, I think just for, it might, well, I don't know if it'd really be any slower, but I think for consistency's sake, I think if you have a built-up Sonya, I don't, so that's why I'm not using her, but I think a built-up Sonya would honestly help a lot of consistency again. If you can find some way for her to be able to tank hits when you start getting one-tapped, because just her being able to res would really help a lot in consistency. But yeah, that's the team. I cleared it. I honestly don't think I can squeak much more consistency out of it. It'd just be like bumping up speed on some of the characters. But realistically, I don't think it matters too much on the speed of all my supports. I think it matters more so on just Messiah's damage being pretty low or Kazuyo missing sleeps. So I guess maybe I could try and bump up her effect hit rate. But anyway, that is Doki Inferno cleared. Very happy about that. Terror also cleared. It's showing a Sonya team. I did clear it with Sonya originally, but now I have my Deeding team who actually can auto this, because I can't fucking auto with this for shit, and this is super mega RNG, so it hasn't even been worth it without Lily for me. So I've just been using a Deeding auto team when I was trying to farm up gear for Messiah, so that was just the first clear though, which did not then help me push Deeding into clearing it because I did not use any of that gear for him. Aurora, I realistically only did Aurora just so there was like a charter mission to do Hell 1, so I did that, and that's really the only reason. I'm not bothering with Aurora, I just feel like I don't need to farm her right now. In Shells, have not done Hell on anybody yet. I think with enough RNG, I can push... Wait, is this even... No, this is Anti-Sync. Oh, Anti-Sync. Okay, well. We'll look at Shells in a second, I guess. Anti-Sync. Yeah, we've done all of... Oh yeah, Anti-Sync, not Shells, not Shells. Yes, Hoyon. So we've cleared up to normal Hoyon. She's fucking tough. The fastest runs I've seen on the Nightmare clear are like 7 fucking minutes long, so... Yeah, maybe I can clear it. I'm just not gonna bother right now. PvP, I don't think I've shown off PvP before. My PvP team, especially after all of the resets I did, is complete ass. Like, right now I climbed Plat 3 way earlier and then did not touch it a whole lot, so I mean, I can still win if my opponent makes really bad ban choices, but for the most part, if I queue into this shit, I'm probably gonna lose. I'm gonna get outsped by everybody. My speed shit is not proper for PvP anymore. But Shells have not cleared Nightmare Inferno on anybody yet. I think I was mentioning it earlier, but I think with RNG I can do a Shadow Sonya clear without Lily. It's just really fucking hard. So I don't feel like bashing my head against it right now. So I leave it at that. Ethernet Rally. Ethernet Rally. I don't know how much of this I've really tried. I did like one initial push and then I kind of stopped. I could probably squeak out a little more progress. But after the last Kuru boss, I feel like these these three are going to be a huge pain in the ass. I don't know, we'll see. Like already, some of these guys are a pain in the ass for some of my teams. Like my blue team, no investment. This Tsukiyomi, she's just capped out at 4 stars. I raised Rosa back up to 6 stars, thinking it would help her, but having no prowess investment in her at all, she's not great. And then I don't even have like a good 5th option yet, so I just slapped Shadow Sonya in because I found her to be way better than these guys, because these guys have, let's see here, they have like no fucking speed. Like, we're at like endgame content. You're telling me that this RC77 has fucking 180 speed? 100, what is that, 40? What the fuck? What are these speed levels, man? They're so ass. These Shadow Walkers, I don't even get it, man. They were, I did use RC a bit, and I think I've used all 3 actually in the first part, but after that, just, even then, like if I had a built one, I'd rather use that. So, I mean, they were only usable in the first part, barely. Yeah, second part of Rally is pretty tough. Kuru was like the huge spike in the first part. I don't get it. It's again, it just seems like big balance issues because Kuru was so much harder than the other 2 bosses in the first part. Speaking of bad balancing and spikes, Ember Trek. We're at Astarte. I've tried it like once or twice. I've read a lot about it, and it all boils down to making me think that the devs don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know how to make difficult content, so they just throw a bunch of RNG bullshit at you. And that's exactly what Astarte is, so I'm not even gonna bother. I'm surprised people got this fast of clears. Let me see. Who wants to say that they've definitely got like some Inferno shit? Yeah, definitely. Complete pain in the ass. Finally got past Sharon. Holy shit. It was so smooth sailing after clearing Sharon. It was beat Sharon, and then I literally just, I think I took a break because it was like late, but I beat Sharon and then I one-shot up to like Rosa or something, and then I had to go to bed. And then the next day, you know, shot straight to Astarte, and then again, just a huge BS spike. I feel bad for people who get stuck on this fight though. It seems like a huge pain in the ass. I didn't have to interact with the gimmick at all. And I think that's about it for progression. So plans for tomorrow, this weekend, big stuff coming up. We got the double drop event. For people who don't know, double drops are going to be affecting modules, animus, and GP, not shells. So hopefully you already knew this and you were already like farming shells beforehand. Unfortunately, no double shells. I think that would have been like one of the highest values for sure, is to farm shells. But alas, no shells. Looking at my own savings, I've saved 71 stamp pots. That's not even the most. Somebody in my guild already saved up like 85. There were probably people with even more than that. Oh, I recorded this at the end. I forgot to mention for the whole planning for the next day. If you see this and you want to use this idea, I mean, cool. What I'm doing is I'm not using any of my gem refreshes today. I'm going to refresh at max at the end of the day before reset. And I'm also waiting to claim my check-in stamina bonus right there, and waiting to level up for the end of the day. That's it. Back to the rest of the video. But my plan, I'll see, like I said, 10% win rate on Doki Inferno. Not too great. I might fool myself into thinking I can do it a couple times, but even then, the runs are like 6 minutes per run, so I think realistically, it's not a good idea for me to be farming Inferno. If you have like speed clears, then 100%, or at least like 3-minute clears, or at least consistent clears, it's not too bad. It would still take a long fucking time. I mean, one full 10 runs is at least an hour. So I think realistically, I would just clear Hell 4, or at least the highest difficulty you can, if you want to farm money. This is probably going to be one of my lower priorities. Actually, I'd say it's probably my middle priority. I think personally my lowest priority is going to be investigation. Now in investigation, if you didn't already know, you can get print drops out of these. You can also get, I think you can get summons, but I know 100% you can get crystals as well. Completely random, but those drops are also going to be doubled. Just know that the conversion, like trying to just dump it all that to farm pulls and whatnot, I mean, you could do that, but I feel like it's really not a good idea. But I don't think that farming it at all is a bad idea. 100% going to be a good idea. You can bring up a lot of people. Like, I'm probably going to do it just so I can get a lot of like these 6 stars and these 5 stars leveled up, just for peace of mind and to squeak out those little bits of stats. Like, I'm probably definitely going to max out my Doki Inferno team right now, just so I can, hopefully that'll help a little bit, we'll see. But I think the number one biggest one I'm actually going to farm is GP, 100%. There's so many characters that I want to build, and there's so many characters that you need a lot of prowess on. And I think stacking up a lot of GP, that was a voice crack, thank you me. I think GP is going to be insanely huge to help build out and flesh out a lot of the SR roster. I think a lot of SR units in general have been overlooked, even if it is just for one-off or more niche purposes. I mean, like Obel right here, yeah, he dots, and dot is dot. But the biggest thing is he has 3 hits, and each hit has a 20%, I think it goes up. Yeah, it goes up to 30%. 3 hits, 30% chance to stun with some effect accuracy, which is what you would build for. This is pretty much a guaranteed stun for 1. And then 2, even if you don't run other dot units, being able to stack up just 3 stacks of dots, if you get lucky, the percentages are so fucking low to actually land 3 stacks of dots, but if you can, insane. Right now, the next few units I've been building up, or that I'm going to be building up for various content that I think that could help a lot in doing a lot of different things, like either working to help push a Deeding up and work as a Lily or a budget Lily, since I don't have Lily, and who knows if I ever will. But the next characters I'm looking at are Chiaki. Ave Maria is huge, and thanks to a guildmate, Benji. I didn't even really think about it, but Ave Maria stops turn knockback entirely. So this is actually really useful for the Blue Wolf in Nightmare on the Phantom Theater. Now, it's not perfect because the boss just steals it anyway, but at least it helps stop a little bit of it, and I think that's a lot more than just getting stuck in fucking perpetual stasis. So yeah, in general, I think that she is just useful, like, and she pretty much keeps permanent attack buffs up due to her passive, always like keeps fucking tossing out these attack buffs, so that's really neat. Kachi the Guard is pretty insane, mostly because of this. I think at cap, if he hits critical success, it's like 2 turns of immunity and like a 3-turn defense up. Pretty nasty. And then his S2 is not bad, some knockback, a speed break, but yeah, that's really good. Help a lot of durability. I'm actually thinking that maybe he could be used alongside or instead of Kloss in my my Doki team, because it would help offset stuns, and it would give us a lot more bulk. But in general, I think having multiple turns of immunity can be nice for a lot of things, probably especially looking at shells, looking at you, Sharon, and where is the third one I was looking for? The third one is Dorothy the Wisher. There's a lot of other characters I want to look at and look into building for other pieces of content, but Dorothy is nice, not even for S3. Her S3 is fine. Crit buff, sure. If you run Deeding, great. Life Leech, fine. A little bit of cleanse. I think it's 2 cleanses we've leveled up. Yeah, she can crit this. Cleansing off 2 debuffs, very nice. But more importantly is just this one right here, S2. This is basically the thing that helps her make like a budget Lily. Lily still has a huge advantage. Well, clearly Lily has a huge advantage. She has like the S1 proc and S1 off of your twin tricked ally and whatnot. But this at least gives you a crit damage buff, which I completely slipped me by. I was thinking like, I'm like, Beyonton I think is like the only one with a crit damage buff. I was wrong. Dorothy has a crit damage buff. It is only single target, but she still has a crit damage buff. One of the only means of getting it right now. But also on a crit, she will buff turn meter by 100%, which essentially is just give an extra turn to an ally, as long as they can have their turn meter pushed up. At max on a 3-second cooldown, not even the biggest deal. You probably don't even need to get that. I think level 4 would be fine, depending on what you need it for. Like my plan right now is to get it up to at least level 4, build out a codex for her, and then run codex and probably speed buff somewhere else for like Deeding to help push him up, and then work to kind of give him those extra turns. Ideally, it would be like Dorothy goes, pushes up Deeding, Deeding gets to go and do his thing, Dorothy laps up, does it again, you know, because of the codex refresh, so that way Deeding gets to attack as many times as possible. At that point, well, I guess if it needs to last longer than that, then level 5 would be a little more important for the reduced cooldown, but I think she can be very helpful in that. But yes, back to the original topic. Plan is farm a lot of GPs, so that way I can farm, or I can skill up all of those guys, and so I can have the materials ready for them, as well as farm up enough materials ready for a lot of the other characters that I'm going to be building out, like my SSRs, which I can get the materials for them, and just plan ahead for when I eventually do get those lattices. And then second, I would probably do module just for the money aspect of it. And because if you are at least farming up to L3, this is still going to be useful. For people who don't know, in Inferno, the biggest difference here, and I don't know why it shows, does it show this for like all of them? Okay, it does, yeah. I'm like, this can definitely still drop 2-piece sets. But the biggest difference here is the fact that you can drop these like new set pieces here. Do know you can only have one of these anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you're not going to be farming for those specifically. So if you can at least farm health 3 or health 4 for any of these dungeons, then it's still going to be very useful for you to farm out these gears right here. It's just ideally you would farm health 4 because health 3 still has a chance at getting outstanding or the purple gears, whereas health 4 only has red, but of course you can still get 2 set pieces. But if you get 3 set pieces with some, you know, fantastic rolls, like that's endgame gear right there. So you're completely fine. But yes, a lot of money. This is going to be double money drops, and since it's going to be double, it should be double gear drops. But because it's going to be double gear drops, all that trash can now be sold for even more money. So I think this is a perfect time to stack up a lot of money so you can be a little more playful with your gear. Like you can look at gear and be like, this could roll really well. Let me find a random piece. This could roll really well. Let's start rolling. I'm not going to waste it, but you know, when you have that surplus, you can look at pieces of gear and be like, this is something worth rolling on. Maybe I get lucky. All right, I think that's about it. I've rambled on for way longer than I expected to. I just wanted to celebrate the fact that I got my Doki Inferno clear with Messiah. I was like, this is my fucking boy. I'm taking him, and he's being my first Inferno clear, and he fucking was. So I was happy about that. But yeah, that's about it. I guess the last thing to look at would just be summons. I'm personally just trying to save up my crystals when I can and save up as many summons as possible. I'd have more, but I don't be me. Don't give in to temptation thinking, oh, maybe this next pity is going to be Lily. It's not. It's not fucking Lily. Don't do it. Anyway, that's it for me. I think personally my next goal is trying to look into farming Inferno shells or starting to help push my Inferno Terror team next. Let me know where you are, what you're stuck on, you know, what your teams are going or looking like right now. I'm curious how everybody else is faring. I know I'm one of the, you know, lucky few that are at least able to clear one Inferno. So right now that's been my big win, and I'm taking it and I'm running with it. So thank you everybody for watching. Take care, and I'll see you.